Okay, as you know from a previous video, it was a bit of a shock coming from Cubase to this. I had these dreams of sort of making all sorts of stuff with the sequencer, and it seemed quite crippled. But what I find is if you understand its limitations and work with them, you can still do some really nice stuff. And I know it's a pattern-based sequencer, I get that. So everything's primarily designed to sort of go with patterns. However, it doesn't mean to say it's no good at anything else. So I tried a bit of orchestral music, a previous project, and loaded it in. And one thing that really grabbed me was the ability to draw sort of the expressive layers on top. That seemed like a really nice feature. If I show you what I mean, so I've muted the other channels. If you don't know how to do that, you just basically click and hold. So if we just play this first channel. So you can hear the strings there. Now, one thing I thought is it needed another sort of layer. So if you go over to this channel here and have a look, I've got a full orchestra. It's a little bit more sort of, it's thin, but it's got some layers that the other one is missing. So I thought it'd be nice if we layer that with that one. This is pretty easy with this. So go back to the original strings, pattern utility, copy, then go over to the track that you want it, the note information, and then paste. And that's it. So that's nice and fast. So if we now play these two, so it's 6 and 1. And if I cut that down, you can then hear that works nice as a layer, with a bit of extra reverb it'd be even better. If you want to change the note information on that, again, you've got your pattern selected, just go to edit, piano roll, and by default it normally come up like this, and this is your note information. Now I don't want to change, I don't want to draw any more notes. I've got draw. Normally if I had draw, I could then literally put notes in. I don't want that, so just touch it again and it's gone. I've also taken off move. All I want to do is change the duration of these notes. And so it's just a question of clicking note and then moving it out like so, which is pretty simple. So that's easy. And again, if there was a wrong note, you could just go on to move and then just move it up and down, change all that. And then you can see here, I've got the entire 64 note pattern in there, 64 measure pattern, which is a little excessive. If we want to make this easier to edit and know where you are, then just go into your loop settings, cut it down to maybe 8 on both of these. And that way you'll just go around the 8 measures and it just makes it an awful lot quicker to then hear the changes that you're doing. So if we go back into the strings here and we go edit, piano roll, I've now got just the 8 measures, and if I want to, I can have the entire lot displayed like that, which makes it nice and easy to see where you are. Like you can see this note here, this one's ending a little bit too quick, so I'm just going to extend that out. So that's nice and easy. What about though, if you wanted to put a bit more expression in, so for example, vibrato or bring in, slowly fade in, something like, for example here, this tremolo. Right, so I've got the tremolo here, but I don't want it to come in hard. I want it to sort of slowly taper in. So the question is, how do you do that? And with this sequencer, again, with the touch, it's really, really simple. So what I'm going to do is set the loop setting down to 8 again, so I'm not cycling through 64 measures every time I listen to it to hear the changes. And then I'm going to go into edit and piano roll. And now what I'm going to do is click this little icon up here to then select what I'm going to change on it. And I'm going for volume because I want sort of automated fades, and I'm going to click draw so that draw becomes active. And I personally like using the line so that I can kind of see the length of the fade. I'm going to stretch it out a bit so I can see it. And what I've done is I've copied over the last chord on each sort of little section, and that's the one I want to fade in and tail out slightly. So what I'm going to do is start down here, going to go up high and tail it out, and I'm going to do the same for this one, like that. And if we hear that, if I cut out the other strings, you'll hear it. You'll hear it better. You can hear that little swell in the background. So it's a kind of really simple thing to achieve. Of course, the other thing you can do is you have a list of things you can control here. So, for example, I've got a solo violin on the second track here. Now, what you can do is select a violin without vibrato, and then it's just a question of going into Edit, and then select this and select modulation. And then you can literally draw on the modulation as you see fit. You can even do it like that. So you can do a very subtle changes. And the nice thing about this is you can change it dead easy. You don't have to keep deleting and adding. It's just dead straightforward. So it's a really powerful feature, and I like it very much indeed.